Hey everybody. Got crap in my eye. Not a good way to start the video. But anywho, welcome. We'll be covering the book of Boba Fett season 1. And more than likely, probably the only season. I'm not even sure if they plan on making a second season. But this is my second time since its premiere watching this. It's not that it's terrible. Hell, it's still far better than what I would give like Rebels, but and definitely far better than Rise of Skywalker. But it's just that half of it is pretty damn good, and ironically, it really has nothing to do with Boba Fett. If you watch my review for Mandalorian season 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure it was the season 2 video that I was mentioning how that Boba Fett is just, when we first saw him in Empire, he was basically a glorified walking action figure that did not say much. And I don't know what it is with like people's idea of him at that time, to where they put him on like a scale to like Luke or Vader as far as like his popularity is concerned, or at least like the myth or the legend about him grew to a certain height that you know he didn't really earn. That's where like I put Din Djarin Mandalorian to a higher scale than Boba Fett, mostly because he had his own agency and he earned his popularity, while Boba Fett seems like he looked cool. He's the kind of guy that, like, at that time, he barely said much. He's like, you know, it's like the opposite of Deadpool. It's like he speaks when he has something to say. And it's like, yeah, most cases that is a mark of a good character, but it's just I don't understand people's fascination, for lack of a better word, over a guy who we never really seen him strut his stuff in Empire. Now it's not the character's fault, it's the way I was about to say it was more so Lucas, but I don't even think it even was Lucas' fault, because he probably did not anticipate people's love for this character at that time when he made Empire. However, it happened, and now this TV show is basically making up for, I guess, lost time. But then again, the Clone Wars series kind of like put him in a position to see how he got from just an inexperienced kid to one of like the most famed or infamous bounty hunters in the galaxy when we see him in Empire. But I gotta give the show this. It's like we see, why he was the most feared bounty hunter. And like what we like, especially after I reviewed like all the Clone Wars, I saw his natural progression. But when we begin this, because at first, like, I wasn't too thrilled, that we leaned so much, spent so much time in the past at the start of this series, like the first 3 episodes, I think, where it's like, okay, we get to see how he made it out of the Sarlacc pit after the events of the beginning of Return of the Jedi. And he crawled out of there, and he was rescued by some Tuskens, who he ended up befriending after saving one of the Tusken child from some sand beast. which is pretty good practical effects. It looks, I'm pretty sure it has some CGI, but it looks phenomenal. Like Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, hell, even like Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed one of my favorite episodes, which was like the season, not season, episode 6 with was it? No, I think it was episode 5. I'm pretty sure it's either 5 or 6, and it's like one of the two that she directed that I love. I'm pretty sure it's 5, but I think they could have condensed that part, because well, I'll get to once I like go through the beats on like what happened in the season. Yeah, like I said, like the Tusken Raiders, he befriends them and he helps them with like these the Pikes, who like this huge crime, organization throughout the Star Wars franchise, and they run in like spice, through the desert, which is on the territory of this particular Tusken tribe, and he helped stop them, and they did retaliate, but they pinning on these like speeder bike gang things. And there's another thing. There's another group of kids, riding these Power Ranger ass mopeds or speed bikes or whatever. That's pretty much something out of like they took characters from Blade Runner and inserted them in the Book of Boba Fett, and it's like, or just Star Wars in general, and it's freaking weird. I mean, not that we haven't seen cybernetics in Star Wars, but it's just like you look at these guys, it's like they seem so out of place, like they belong in Blade Runner. If you ever watch Blade Runner, I know it's like this all cyberpunk stuff, but it's like I don't even think you can qualify Star Wars as cyberpunk, because there's no punk in it. That's the key part. But yeah, I don't like those characters, really. Not like they're god awful actors involved, but it's just like, I don't know. They seem like very try hard, like they trying to make, like they're forcing, new characters. They forcing it a bit, with like trying to make them super distinct, and it's like you overdoing it. It's like a hat on a hat. But anyway, his like Tusken people who brought him in and nursed him, and like like they taught him how to fight and all that stuff. They all died. He thought he got his revenge because he saved Fennec Shen after she got shot. Kind of runs parallel a little bit with Mandalorian season 1, where that little punk little kid who's trying to be like a bounty hunter, somehow get a drop on like Fennec Shan of all people. Not get the drop on, but like, load her in a false sense of security and shoot her in the gut. Of course, we already know what happened to him. He died anyway. But Boba Fett finds her. That's where like that mysterious person came by in that episode of The Mandalorian. He brought her to like a modification guy. He hooked her up with like some cybernetics to save her life, and as her payment, she helped him reclaim his ship that was still in Jabba's palace. And she been stuck with him, a right-hand woman the whole rest of the way. Now they trying to claim he took down like Bib Fortuna and sat on the throne of former boss gang member Jabba the Hutt. So he's like the new Daimyo. And a lot of people is one of people's complaints is like, what is like, at least from what I remember, when it came out. Like, what is his like overall goal? What he's trying to do ultimately? Is he trying to be like the new kingpin? I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, he's trying to be a new like a kingpin, like a good kingpin who's trying to rule with respect instead of fear. Unlike Java, it's like, I don't know. It's some people say it's something missing. I get his overall goal, but I guess some people kind of expect something more substance to that. But if you hear something, outside, I got the window cracked, so pardon any kind of noise from kids or whatever. But so all the while he's trying to like run the syndicate. He's still dealing with like other organizations in Mos Espa, Mos Eisley. I forgot which Mos part in Tatooine he's in, but I'm pretty sure it's Mos Espa. But he is trying to like show his face and let people know like hey, like I'm I'm the new Daniel. You'll be like paying tribute to me. I just know nothing really needs to change, but it's like I'm just like the new guy here, so it's like you'll be answering to me. And but he's getting like pushed back from like certain gang affiliates, like other like the two twin Hutts that were cousins to Jabba. He's trying to give him a hard time by sending this Wookiee assassin after him. This Dark Chewbacca, pretty much. I can't remember his doggone name. He was in like a Star Wars comic that I don't think I read, so I just call him Dark Chewbacca. And of course he's trying to come after breaking into the palace, and while like he's pretty much spent like the first few episodes soaking in like the BAFTA tank, trying to like really heal up and stuff like that. And there's another thing, like, shouldn't like like after you spend like a significant time in the BAFTA tank, you should be all healed up? Because Luke, when in the Empire you get like jumped by that Wampa, he spent like what, like at most a few hours in the BAFTA tank before he was like not necessarily on his feet, but he's like was able to like rest normally in a bed. And he spent like a good significant time in that BAFTA tank trying to do some recall into his past. But anywho, you get like a not a jump scare, like a scare where Dark Chewbacca is in there, rip open the BAFTA tank and trying to like take down Boba Fett. But Fennec and like the Cyberpunk Power Rangers, they helped trap Dark Chewbacca in like the former crap, what's that beast called, the Rancor pit, and of which he eventually gets like a Rancor from like the twins as like apologies which you get like, you see Danny Trejo, who never makes another return, because people at that time wanted to see like, okay, let's see Danny Trejo again and see him teach Boba Fett how to ride a Rancor. But we don't get to see that. You only get that one little moment with Danny Trejo, which is kind of like, you're wasting Danny Trejo. You got them all out here. Maybe they just couldn't afford Danny Trejo, but whatever. But then he releases Dark Chewbacca, who later comes back and Boba recruits him for some assistance for like a bigger threat, because like the Pikes, who were the real responsible ones who killed those particular Tusken tribe members. And then those Pikes also working with like other gang affiliates that doesn't want to uh, take orders from Boba Fett, and they also got the mayor under their thumb and stuff like that. There's a whole thing with that. Um, so Boba trying to like, okay, how like I'm supposed to retaliate? I do not want to rule the same way as like uh Jabba did, because he ruled by fear, and that's not how I do it. I want because he wants to take over mostly to like because he doesn't want to be a bounty hunter anymore, and he wants to make sure that any bounty hunter who comes by, they don't get screwed in the end when they take on a job like he did when like Jabba essentially sent him to like and sent him to do a job that ended up him going to like a Sarlacc pit. And it's like, I guess trying to give, bounty hunters better job security. At least, don't send them in like life or death situations without some kind of like, I guess, safety net in a way. Like I said, better job security, they're well compensated for their troubles or what have you. Trying to do like like a better kingpin. So, eventually the other gangsters hired what's his name? I forgot that fast. He was like a prominent guy in Clone Wars. Uh, um, Cad Bane. Yeah, it was like amazing to see like Cad Bane in live action, and the look was, phenomenal work with the look. It's like a good 80 to 90% like practical effects with touch ups with CGI. It looks great. I mean, I noticed like when he's like trying to put his hands on his holster and you see like his hands and his fingertips, they look a little like, well, of course they're supposed to look like bloated suction cups on his fingertips like on the cartoon, but it's like it looks kind of cheesy in live action. But like, and they get the actual like voice actor, and it's like everything looks fantastic, like straight up like a western. And he ended up like blurting to Boba Fett at a standoff about like, it was the Pikes who actually killed your little Tusken family. He was trying to, get his goat a bit. Pretty much poking a bear. All the while, it's like, you know, uh, Boba Fett and Shan started to recruit people that they trust, and they go eventually to the Mandalorian, which is like from that episode moving on, like the episode when we see the return of Mandalorian. From that episode moving on, it's not about Boba Fett anymore. And that's what people's issue is. That second half of the Book of Boba Fett is probably like the best part of the season. It's mostly like another part of probably season 2.5 of Mandalorian. It's like, the Boba Fett part, like, you cared only so much, and that is a crying shame. But you get to see like they see this is brilliantly done where they seeded the overall like main mission of what the next season of the Mandalorian going to be, because he's feeling the fallout from his like the Mandalorian armor, the female that we've seen like their leader pretty much informing Din that, after he admits that he removed his helmet in front of others, which is like against their religion, he's not welcome to the tribe anymore. Like the only way he has to make up for that is, I think, go to the spot where the Mandalorian massacre happened, like the uh, uh, something of 1,000 tears or whatever, and to go to this, I forgot what she called it. It was like certain place that he has to go in order to do something in order to be forgiven again, and so he can be welcomed back into his people. So that'll be like the main crux of season 3 of Mandalorian, which I'm looking forward to. But and then he also had to, he spent time trying to train with the Darksaber, because, like, as mentioned in this episode, which I completely forgot, is that, he mentioned about Bo-Katan, and I think the leader mentions, like, technically it wouldn't have mattered if she had the Darksaber, because she, if you recall from the Rebels, Sabine gave her the Darksaber, but Bo-Katan had to win it from her. It's like because the Darksaber was forged by the first Mandalorian Jedi, something Vizsla. What is his name? Crap. Tar Vizsla, Car Vizsla. Yeah, basically, yeah. But it's like, uh, that is just like, it's a sign of, like, who should rule Mandalore and unite all the tribes. But, so far, like, Mando has it, and he won it by, right of combat. They couldn't take it from him if they wanted to. And, like, this other guy there who is the descendant of Vizsla tried to beat Mando in combat, but got his ass handed to him, so he couldn't take it. But you learn that wielding the Darksaber is extremely hard. They didn't even mention this in Rebels, which is weird. But it's like, maybe they did, but it's like, either I forgot or it was like brief. But if you fight against it, it just feels heavy. That's why it's so difficult to wield a lightsaber in general. And you need, like, like, very, because, like, since Jedi can just wield lightsabers so effortlessly, is because they're so attuned with the Force, it kind of like mitigates that negative effect, like, just by automatic. Doesn't mean they'll automatically skill with it. They just won't be able to be weighed down by the weight, because all that energy is being poured out. And since Din Djarin isn't, like, attuned with the Force like that, he cannot wield it. That he had to try extra harder, just like with Sabine. He had to try so hard to or at least train so hard just to make sure he can wield that blade efficiently. Which is weird, because, like, how did Moff Gideon just, maybe because he probably practiced better, but because he had it probably for a significant amount of time, but he was just wielding it like, like a normal sword. He wasn't, like, held back by it. But he gets this. He goes back to Tatooine. He obviously missing Baby Yoda, but he gets this new ship from, like, the mechanic on Tatooine, the lady mechanic, and you see, like, an old little small mini, like, speeder ship. I forgot what you even call those things, but it's like the same thing that you saw little Anakin ride in Force Awakens, and while, like, in the third act, while Maul is fighting, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. And it's like she repurposed it to be like, because since it's pre-Empire, he can pretty much fly under the radar whenever he pretty much wants to, and it goes so fast. It was completely, like modded to like a more like efficient ship for Mando. But the problem, in my opinion, is with the Razor Crest he used to have, where he's gonna sleep is, you got a little spot for Baby Yoda where normally like an R2 unit would be put there, or just any astromech. But you got this one little seat for him, but it's like he will have to constantly go places, to like get rest instead of like sleeping in his own ship for free. I mean, it's not stopping him from sleeping in his own ship, but it's like cramped, and like it doesn't offer like it doesn't look like it offers like somewhere like so far as like defense or whatever, like, because when that Razor Crest was in that planet with all those, like ice and those like, alien spiders that's trying to attack him, it's like it offers some bit of defense, but it's like you try to go through a situation like that with this ship is probably not gonna last long. But my opinion, but still looks sleek, and it's a nice little callback. It was nice to see those things again after so many years had went by, because like the Empire's rule lasted for a good decade or two, and then prior to that you got like at least several years of Clone Wars. So it's like it's like a classic car, it's like a classic Mustang from the 80s or something like that. I'm not a car guy, but you get what I mean. It's like seeing something that hasn't been in use for decades and repurposed to be like a very drivable machine. He goes to see Baby Yoda to like give this forged chainmail from his Beskar spear to give to Baby Yoda as a gift. He misses him. It's like a father's missing his kid, and he's off to like camp or something. And you see like, I think deepfake Luke in this looks a little bit better than what we saw at first in the last season of The Mandalorian. And you can see like Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson's freaking gorgeous, especially with the whole Ahsoka thing got going on. I just love Rosario Dawson. And I find it so freaking ironic. She's such a huge Star Trek fan, and she's in a Star Wars property. It's so funny. She is helping like Luke with, because he's on the same planet where you see in Last Jedi, where Luke is trying to establish the first Jedi Academy, and Baby Yoda's gonna be like the first student, and it's like, ooh man, knowing what's gonna happen to that thing, happen to this whole place adds to the tragedy that we know was gonna befall it, which is kind of adds on to the problem of Last Jedi and by extension Rise of Skywalker, because it's like those two movies need like a complete redo, because it's like, I know people are tired of the Skywalker saga, and I said this multiple times, but it's like, honestly, I would agree that the Skywalker saga should have like a book closing, but it ends on such a whimper, and it's like, do you want it to end this kind of like a piss poor way, honestly? And I beseech to like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to like do make a huge announcement either at a con or like social media or interview mentioning like, okay, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, those will be completely, we're not going to get rid of them, they'll always be there, but we want to do a complete overhaul in those last two, and we are going to man the ship to run concurrently with Force Awakens, so that way we'll give the Skywalker saga a proper ending, and everything will be running smoothly, and it will make sense, and it will like jive well with everything else that came before it. Because, you know, I don't think anybody is like uh crying foul with like Ben Solo turned to the dark side. That can still play out, but it's just like with the Luke story, uh, it's just like, I still believe they should include Mara Jade in this some way or fashion, cause like have like another Skywalker. I don't want a Skywalker bloodline to just completely end with Luke and Leia. That seems kind of a disservice to that whole entire lineage of this family that did so much for the galaxy. And I mean, like, of course you got Ben Solo. I mean, like, I don't think you can have him die either. But it's like, whatever tragedies he put on to others, he should, maybe in my opinion, with in the rise of Skywalker, and like, if you bring in like the Emperor back, he helps defeat him, but he decides to atone for his crimes by going to a prison to serve a sentence, and then in like a TV show, he's released to help with like a major threat or like teaching new Jedi recruits. But it's like, I want like Mara Jade and like a child of her and Luke to be taught by Ben Solo, some significant time later into the ways of the Jedi. And like keep, and then of course like you can book close that with these two, like Ben Solo teaching Luke and Mara Jade's kid in the ways of the Force, and just look upon Tatooine the two sons, and like book close that. We probably won't have to focus, at the very least, not focus on them at that after that point moving forward. Then we can focus on some new people in other Star Wars property, and have Ben Solo or Luke's kid show up years later, or like, when crap goes down, they come in to like, like you see in the end of Mandalorians, like, he's there to like bail him out, but it's not about him. He's just like, it's just like when the chips are down situation, but it's not about them. Kind of veered off the main topic, but it's like, he gives Ahsoka the gift that he has for Baby Yoda. She talks with Luke, which, here's another thing. It's like, maybe it's in the Ahsoka series that they just started shooting scenes for Ahsoka series. Maybe in that, and like I just looked up, and they Sabine's gonna make an appearance. They cast like something like this Asian actress, Natasha something, as the live action Sabine, and I'm half expecting Ezra to make an appearance too, because Ahsoka's main plot is going to be dealing with Grand Admiral Thrawn, after we heard her in Mandalorian mentioning, her search of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So he survived whatever ordeal that happened in Rebels. So that's that. But man, there's so many characters, that they need to introduce. You see a little bit of BD1 in this, and it got me so hyped. I was like, oh my God, is and of course it's just like a regular BD1 unit. I was like, y'all know exactly what you was doing. And you getting our hopes up for no reason, because BD1 only made an appearance in no other Star Wars property except Jedi Fallen Order. Why would you do that? It's just you trying to you pretty much Ralph Boner us again with that little showing. It's like, don't do that unless you are committed. Unless you are committed, don't do it. Because like I have expected Cal Kestis to show up, and that'd be so great to see him. Can you imagine seeing Cal Kestis in like the Ahsoka series, and just came out of nowhere, like towards like the last episode of season 1 of Ahsoka, like Luke did for Mando, and he just comes in like, just with an orange lightsaber, the premium version, like from the game, and like coming in and just like going ham. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. And get the exact actor who did like motion capture and voice for Cal Kestis, because he should still be around. That's another person. Like, you can still do other stories with like Star Killer from the Force Unleashed games and Cal Kestis. You can tell like a significant amount of stories with each of these Jedi, along with Ahsoka. Well, I don't know how long, because Ahsoka's been around as long as the Skywalker people. So it's like her book eventually. I guess she got a good still a good handful of years to work with her, but you need more material eventually, and it's like you can have Cal Kestis and Star Killer serve that purpose, and they are already established, they are already familiar, and people already love these characters. And if you don't want to do any Skywalker stuff, these guys are here. You can have like a Cal Kestis saga, and you can have a Star Killer saga. And so like you see like a nice little moment where like Luke training Baby Yoda, and it's like a nice callback from like in the original trilogy, as he's like having Baby Yoda on his back as he's running through the fields and stuff like that. And he's a lot better than he was from when we first saw him in like Empire, where he's can barely lift a starfighter out of the swamp. Now he's like so effortlessly like crushing dark troopers and like lifting tons of frogs out of the water, and just like he's speaking so wise, and it's like he's not like as wise as like what Yoda or Kenobi have been, because they had like more years on him, but it's like he's like he reached to the point where it's like he has like a better understanding, and he's gonna get just more better at it as time goes on. But this is the part where like he lost me, and he lost a lot of people, where he gave Grogu a choice between the lightsaber and the path of a Jedi, and the chainmail given to him by the Mandalorian. And it's like, you choose one, you forsake the other. And it's like, this is not Luke. Because Luke understood that this is the old ways of the Jedi, and this is how they fall. Because they, remain stagnant and, force younglings to abandon attachments. And it's like, this is something Luke would like completely throw out of the book entirely, and like go his own way from this moment forward. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do the same crap like the past Jedi did. Like, I'm starting fresh here. It's like I nipped in the bud right now. It's like you can have both. You can have the chainmail and the lightsaber. There's no reason for you to not have both. That's why I want like Dave Filoni and like Jon Favreau to do like a complete redo, because like because the way we saw Luke ends, like most is still good. It was just like soon a few parts here and there is like Luke should know better from all the stuff that he's been told, probably by Ahsoka and stuff from Kenobi. It's like all this stuff that happened in the past from the old Jedi ways. He's like, fuck no, I'm not doing any of that. I'm doing my own thing. And it's like, and Ahsoka should be like, smacking on the side of the head, like, no, don't do that. Don't tell him to forgo attachments, because that's how you get Vader. Do you want a Vader? Because that's how you get Vader. But of course, Grogu chose the chainmail. Luke had R2 fly him in like the starfighter back to Tatooine and meet up with Mando, who was dealing with which is funny. Like I don't know how they found. Maybe he meant he's going to be on Tatooine, but it's like, how you know where Mando was going to be? You send not only an R2 unit to look after a baby, to fly him like by, himself out to the middle of space to like a planet where you don't know that guy's going to be there. It's all leaving up to chance here, Luke. But of course, all the while, Mando talks to Cad Bane, trying to, recruit some people from Freedom Town now. They stopped calling it the other thing. And, need some extra manpower. And of course, he hesitant, about putting these people in danger for somebody they don't know, blah, 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 blah. As soon as Mando leaves, here comes Cad Bane. He shoots the deputy dead and severely wounds Cad Bane. People worry that we'll never see that actor again, and this character was so popular. But no, he's not dead. He's soaking in a bath tank by the end of the season. But then everything comes to a head where got everybody on all the good guys on Boba Fett side that we met up so far. On the side, things apparently going tits up where it's the supposed neutrality of the other gang members isn't so neutral, and it's they're fighting all these pikes and these other gang members, but here you get the very Terminator here, because they start sending out these giant destroyer guys. They almost look like something pulled out of Terminator Salvation, where they start got these big shields that they uselessly wasting ammo shooting at things that you're not going to get past those things. Why you keep wasting ammo and just try to work around that somehow? But thanks to the Rancor, throwing the Hail Mary, they managed to disrupt these things, and with Baby Yoda, snatching a part out of the other thing, crippling it, whereas they can take down their heavy hitters. And yet Boba Fett, of course he couldn't win in a shootout against Cad Bane, but with his stick fighting training from the Tuskens, he managed to kill Cad Bane. But that crazy mod guy that helped Fennec Shan, he hooking up Cad Bane for some reason. How he knows Cad Bane at all. And of course he found Cad Bane because some beeper thing on his vest was going off to signal him to come pick him up to heal him. And it's okay, because I guess you can't get rid of that sweet character. But it's as mentioned by Boba Fett, calling him an old man. Cad Bane had been around since the he's already infamous during the start of the Clone Wars. But it's it's been, I don't know how his race ages, but it's been a good 30 years at the max. And that could have easily, let's say he was 30 when the Clone Wars started. That puts him at 60, somewhere around that general area. And it's he shouldn't be, at least, not that he should be decrepit or anything, but he should be evenly matched by a more experienced Boba Fett. Because when he first saw Boba Fett, he was somewhere between 10 to 12 years old, and it's a lot of time had passed to make Boba Fett probably as much of a threat to Cad Bane by this point in time. But anyway, so then here's the part where I really kind of disagree with. Fennec Shan went out, killed all the other syndicate leaders, very cool Assassin's Creed kind of style. And it seems like, not that like I put it past her, but it's like you would kind of expect Boba Fett to dish out the punishment, considering that one of the Pike members ordered the uh, assassination of the Tuscan tribe that helped Boba Fett. All that is just completely weird. But everything's like all hunky dory. Now at least so far. Not sure if they're gonna make a season 2 out of this, but this proves that not everybody deserves their own little series just because they're good in a thing before. It drives me freaking bonkers when they do that. And they try to do that with like another character from Mandalorian, that female wrestler. God, I forgot her doggone name, but you know what I'm talking about. Of course, that fell through because of her little Twitter comments. It was very kind of transphobic, but yeah, half of this series is fantastic, but it has nothing to do with Boba Fett. Like I said, from the moment we see Mando again, from that point forward, it's fantastic. But it had got it's mostly because we get Cobb Vanth again, Mando again, we get Cad Bane, we get Luke, Ahsoka, and Baby Yoda. All those people like really made that last half of the season, and I like Fennec Shan, but it's like she's like roped along with, this is like a package deal with Boba Fett. Like it's not like she didn't, nobody didn't bring their A game, but it's just like the character of Boba Fett is something like I said, they should not have wasted so much time in those backstories, and like it could have been meaning so much if around this time, because it's right after like not too long after Return of the Jedi, where instead of we getting like Mando again or Luke again, well, I guess you have to like, because I guess they didn't want to waste like an entire season or an episode in season 3 of Mandalorian to establish what like Mando's new mission is going to be for that particular season, and like we can wrap up like Baby Yoda's story pretty quickly too at the same time, which kind of some people's complaint made that final episode of season 2 pointless, where he's like okay, Baby Yoda needed to like have significant time training with Luke to become like at least a Jedi Knight officially, but nobody wanted to break up this pairing. But it would have been a whole lot better a Book of Boba Fett, where instead of like Luke and all these other people, it could have been a whole lot more interesting if you had the guy who played Han Solo in the Solo movie to come in as as Han Solo, and have him work side by side with his rival Boba Fett to take down these syndicates, with Dark Chewie working side by side, and like that would have been a whole lot more interesting, in my opinion. Because like you can like establish like these two like begrudgingly working together, because like well, not begrudgingly, but it's like burying a hatchet with each other, come to some kind of understanding. It's like I was working a job with the Empire that caused you to get tortured and put in carbonite and sent to be put as a trophy for Jabba the Hutt. I've grown, and like it'll take like some time for Han to get over all that, or at least come to some kind of understanding with Boba Fett and what he's done. But that would have been a whole lot better of a uh season where it's like, these two having to like work together, or at least trying to like, make it easy, because like, Han was a smuggler, he was a bounty hunter, but it's like they both had to work for crappy, employers. So it's like it'd be like better for like Han to like, okay, better the devil that you know kind of situation, because like you trying to do better by running this crime underworld, and it'll be easy for me, whereas like I know you personally, and like I can like get like like the best stuff, or the best assignments to get paid easily, that's not crazy dangerous. That just would have been a whole lot better story arc, just to get these two to like, you know snipe at each other a little bit, and then like work together as like, you know like 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 kind of like Rush Hour, or these buddy cop things. It's like, these guys, you know for all their like, of course there's been comics where these two like very like, like like Vegeta and Goku kind of rivals, but in the end, in this season, can like establish like these guys are friends, like at least like uh not enemies at least. And maybe if there's a season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, that could be a thing. uh but anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of the Book of Boba Fett. What do you agree with and what you disagree with? uh and yeah, next week I'll be going through, for the first time, because I've never seen this before, Star Wars Resistance. The first, there's only 2 seasons, and I'll go through those 2 seasons along with, because they run parallel with The Force Awakens, so I'm going to go through all 3 things. And next week I will be posting my spoiler review for all those 3 things. And then the week after I'll be finally wrapping up, well, not technically yet, because I'm going to cover The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, 2 of which I haven't seen since I saw it in theaters. But I'm going to power through those. And then like right in that, either I think in the same week, that's when like the Kenobi series will start. And I'll do like a complete spoiler review for the entire Kenobi series once it completely ends, and I can give my full thoughts and break down through the entire season, which I imagine is gonna be freaking phenomenal. Cause it's like you got like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen doing all these like promos and like interviews, and I don't know about interviews, but just doing a lot of promotion for this show, like especially like in London recently. I'm super excited. But anyway, in a few minutes I will do another spoiler movie review of another Mother's Day month movie. It's Freaky Friday, and I'm doing it a little early because I might be, I will see. Tomorrow on Sunday I will be going to get my hair done because it's been like going crazy, and I've been trying to like struggling to find somebody to like take care of this. But so I want to make sure I free up some time. That's why I'm doing all this kind of early. But I will see you guys in a little bit. So stay tuned.